Let the pain begin.
You know, she dedicates all these to Cap, Charlie, and Isabel, and I'm just going to assume that's her kids. And one could also assume, not me, but just somebody, that if you truly loved your kids, you wouldn't be able to write this book.
I don't know what I expected when starting this, but do you know what I got? I got that PETA is taken by the Capitol and presumed dead. His parents are dead. Katniss is having mental breakdowns and hallucinations. District 13 apparently only took them in to be new breeding stock because all of their people are infertile, so they need new people to make kids. And also, anybody above 13, you're in the military. So Katniss is just walking around District 12. They let her go back for some reason, and she's just like picking up skulls and thinking, who was this person and how did I get them killed? That's the crazy thing about this. I don't know if you can see outside. It's a beautiful day. And I was having a good day. And now I'm sad.
Nope, there's more. Finnick apparently only cries and sleeps, although it is good he's in the story, I guess. But Cinna. Plutarch sources believe he was killed during interrogation. If the last that I get to see of him was him being beaten bloody to a pulp right before Katniss goes into the arena, I am gonna riot. Cinna isn't a character that you just get to kill off screen and go like, oh, it was handled over there. First off, he's my second best friend behind Haymitch. And second, like, what do you mean he was killed during interrogation? He made clothes. What do you think he knew?
Peeta's alive. I knew that. I'm not dumb. They can't kill him. He's part of the plot.
I don't know what's happening with him, actually. He comes out and he does a call for a ceasefire. He's being interviewed, but he's strapped to the chair. So he's very clearly a prisoner, but they're letting him on TV. But they're only letting him on TV to do the call for a ceasefire. So now everybody thinks he's a traitor. I don't think he's a traitor.
All right. So Katniss has made demands to President Coin. Don't look at these. These aren't mine. President Coin. Don't know what to think about her. Don't love the name. Kind of like the attitude, given that she's a rebel leader. I'm cool with all the demands that Katniss made. The one thing that I was a little curious about was her demand to kill Snow. I don't necessarily think it fit her character, but if this is the way that we're headed, I don't hate it. Like, I would like to see Katniss a bit more cutthroat. This is, however, the most we have seen of Gale in a long, long time. And to be honest with you, I don't really care about any of the romantic aspects at this point. I feel like that has been played up a lot, and it's still played up a lot. I mean, the Rebels asked if Katniss wanted Gale to be her new, like, on-screen lover, and she was like, what the You know, they're focused on it. I don't give a shit at this point.
And they're torturing her beauty team from the Capitol. Does a single happy thing happen in this entire book? Just a smidgen of something. Does somebody find a cracker that they weren't expecting? Maybe a wedding? Maybe the wedding actually happens. God, that would mean they both survived, though. And something tells me that's not going to happen.
So Haymitch has been gone this entire time, and we don't really know where he's been, but when he finally pops up, it's on page 72, and the first words out of his mouth are an insult to Katniss. You just gotta love consistent characters. Tell me why I'm emotionally connected to this baby that never existed. I didn't even care until this very moment. I forgot that she was supposed to be pregnant, and then they're talking about what they're gonna do about that situation, and Plutarch goes, we'll spread the word that she lost the baby from the electrical shock in the arena. Very sad, very unfortunate. Like, yeah, it is sad and unfortunate. Can I have a minute to grieve? She was going to have a baby with PETA. I kind of wanted that baby to exist.
You know, now that I'm doing the movie companions, the only thing I can think about is that every single thing that I read, I have to watch. And it really stands out in a moment where she goes to the hospital with all of the people who are dead and dying. And then the firebombs start to drop, and they're all crushed and killed like they're Chilean miners. That was a deep pull. You thought I forgot about the Chilean miners, but I didn't. Never forget.
All right, goddamn PETA was on the TV again. This time it looks like he's lost like 15 pounds. He's clearly being tortured or deprived of basic stuff. But he asks again for Katniss to use her influence to end all of this. And I'm just sitting here thinking something is up. Because the PETA that I know, the one that you all fucking rant and rave about 24/7, I don't think he'd give in to torture. I think he would just be like, yeah, kill me. Like, he's not Gale with the aggressiveness of like wanting to fight. But PETA's not somebody that's going to choose to save himself over the better good. So something's up, and I don't know what it is, but I'm on to them. Oh, shit. Gale just said, I think the meanest thing that's been in any of these books. He's about to cry, and Katniss reaches up and kisses him. And he says, I knew you'd kiss me. And Katniss asks, how? How did he know? And he says, and I quote, because I'm in pain, he says, it's the only way I get your attention. He picks up the box. Don't worry, Katniss, it'll pass. I mean, maybe my memory's wrong, but I think it's kind of true, and it's mean. And I mean, it's mean from both of them. It's mean of him to say it, and it's mean of her to do it. I'm trying to express what I'm feeling right now, and honestly, I don't have words for it. I'm confused in a hurt way. I knew it. I knew Peeta wasn't a traitor. He got the shit kicked out of him for it, but he did warn them about the oncoming missiles. So yeah, he's saying what the Capitol wants him to say, but he's also trying to sneak in messages in between what they want him to say. Which then makes me think that maybe he tried to sneak in some messages previously. But what would those have been?
You know, I like Finnick. I don't really have anything else for you. It's just he's really grown on me over the past book, and I like him.
Katniss has lost her mind enough to where they're going to rescue Peeta. And my question is the same as Katniss's. Why now? I didn't need all of this stress. You could have done this however long ago. I don't know how long they've been in this fucking underground bunker, but it could have been sooner. Oh, no. No. Yeah. Gale's going to rescue Peeta. You can't fucking see shit. 3 books, you have told me that Gale is some piece of shit who's going to do something that I'm going to hate. He's a bad guy, Team Peeta all the way. Shame on you and your family and every thought you've ever had. Real easy to sit in the crowd, isn't it? Raise your hand and say, oh, I hate this guy. Who among you would sign up to go save the person that you're going to lose the love of your life to? I am ashamed of every bad thing I've ever said about him. Of course it's Team Gale. Of course it's Team Gale. Finnick just admitted that President Snow used to force him into prostitution. I'm going to bed. This is bullshit.
All right, we're back. It's the next day. Sun's out. It's not as depressing as last night.
I was having a bad time.
Literally on this sentence where Finnick said what Snow is doing, I closed the book. I don't even know how that scene ends. But we're going to find out today, and we're going to keep our spirits up. It's fictional. These people aren't real. That's not going to help, but it is what it is.
What is happening?
Finnick goes on camera. He starts telling all the secrets that we got the teasers about in the last book. And during the movie reaction that I did, I stopped when Snow had taken a drink of some champagne or something and blood spilled back into the glass. I thought that was like a metaphor or something, but it turns out he's dying because of all of the poison that he has ingested over the years while poisoning other people. And also, I heard the word incest in there somewhere, and I don't know who's sleeping with who, but I swear to God, there's a lot of things that I will put up with. That is not one of them. Peeta was brainwashed. Of course he was brainwashed. He would never betray them. And we knew that. I'm also hoping he's not used as like a story crutch moving forward. Meaning that like President Coin could still go, well, you know, he betrayed us and use that against Katniss, but he warned them about the bombing. He's very clearly out of his mind right now. Let's send him off into the sunset with a gold watch and a pension. All right, so Gale is starting to Gale pretty hard. Like he's still the same guy, but he's getting a little hungry for death from the enemy. May or may not have just tried to cause an avalanche to suffocate a bunch of people. Who knows? But if this is heading the direction that I think it's going to head, I'm pretty sure that's why you're all telling me not to like him. And I just hope it's not like a school, right? Like he's not going to blow up a school, is he? Is he going to blow up a school? Does he turn into an actually evil guy, or does he just make a really big mistake? I think it's been proven on here that I keep calm under pressure, right? But I am nervous right now. Peeta, by the way, is still out of his fucking mind. He's brainwashed by the Capitol and is associating Katniss with every negative thing that's ever happened to him in his entire life. So that's just a fucking ball of joy. One of them has lost his marbles. One of them's trying to blow up a train station. You know, for the past 2 chapters, Katniss has just fought with everybody about everything. And I'm just starting to think like, holy shit, I don't like her. And right about that time, it reminds me that she's 17. And I'm trying to figure out, do I not like her because she's genuinely an insufferable main character? Or just because she's a teenager? I don't know if you know this, but teenagers are
the worst. She's the worst in the world.
They're just the worst. I was the worst as one. You probably were. Most people don't like who they were as a teenager. And I don't like Katniss. So I don't know how you are with reading, but there's still about a third left of the book, and I pay attention to those kind of things. And the reason being is, it is directly proportional to how much time is left for something extremely shitty to happen. They are currently leaving for the Capitol to go try and kill Snow. Or maybe they're not necessarily trying to kill Snow. That's what Katniss is trying to do. Which means we are at the beginning of Murphy's Law, and everything that could go wrong is about to. Confession time. I just don't care what's happening with Peeta's storyline right now. It's such background information with everything else going on, with the war being raged, that this idea of like, oh no, Katniss and Peeta don't like each other. I don't give a shit. Like, am I supposed to? Like, when he came back, I was really stoked about it. It's great to have him back in the story, but how he's currently being utilized feels like this combination of both unnecessary and too much. Like this soldier Boggs, who's responsible for keeping Katniss alive, he just got his legs blown off.
I care about that. I don't care that PETA, who doesn't even care that his own parents were killed, doesn't have X, Y, and Z memories.
Boggs died. And of course, like any dying person, he had a very cryptic message to give. Don't trust them, don't go back, kill PETA, do what you came to do. I get the kill PETA part, that one's pretty straightforward. Don't trust who and for why. I think the last part's also pretty self-explanatory. Boggs wanted her to kill Snow. But why is confusing me part of this equation? The second worst thing that could have happened did. To me, worst thing that could possibly happen is that Hamish dies. And you may be thinking, who's the second person? Is it Gale? No. Is it PETA? No. Is it Katniss? No. It's Finnick. You know, I didn't realize how much I liked him. Like I did. I liked him kind of in the way that I liked Boggs. But then you find out about his backstory and his love with Annie, the things that Snow made him do. He just becomes one of those characters that you want them to win. You know, right before that, I was going to come on here and give my theories of like what was going to happen. And the number one thing I was going to say was that I don't care who dies. I hope that Finnick lives. And I guess I still will. I'm just going to be sad while I do it. So I don't care if Gale or PETA wins. I want the other one to die. That sounds cruel. I know. I'm not saying that because of the Finnick thing. I mean, I can't really imagine a world in which they both live and one of them has to watch the other one end up with Katniss. I guess the only other alternative I'd be okay with is that they both live and neither one of them gets Katniss. There's also about 100 pages left and the Gale thing hasn't happened yet, whatever that terrible thing is, and the possibility of him blowing up his school is very much still on the table. I mean, they're in the Capitol, they've got explosives on them, but they're desperate for their lives. Oh, but why did it have to be Finnick? I might just go to bed again. We have a happy moment. Kind of happy. It depends on your definition. PETA and Gale had a conversation and they talked about Katniss. And you know, they basically tried to convince each other that each other was going to be the one that ended up with Katniss. And although there's clearly like some jealousy and stuff going on, they were very cordial about it. And inside what I felt was like, yes, monkeys, dance. Dance for your ringmaster. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one, but I don't really like what this ending is leading up to. But Gale and Katniss are about to break off. Peeta's going off on his own to cause a distraction, which is essentially committing suicide, and Gale gives him his suicide pill. Katniss is trying to convince Peeta to take it. And it's like, again, I know that this isn't the classic love story or whatever, but I don't like how cold Katniss has been about Peeta this entire time. And this isn't like a character's thing. It's like a writing thing. Like, I think it's bad writing to take what we know about these characters, and this is the outcome that we get. I'll think on that more in my final review, but that's what I'm feeling right now. Well, Gale was just taken prisoner. Katniss was supposed to shoot him, and he doesn't have any nightlock because he gave it to Peeta. No, it's cool. It's cool. I mean, I don't know why I expected anything else. Got to sit up in sport mode because they just bombed a bunch of children. I guess this is how it's going to be the rest of the time, huh? Cool. Cool. One of the children was Prim. You've got to be fucking kidding me. Why is Prim there? Isn't she like 13? Like but don't the kids join the military at 13? I hate everything right now. And who bombed the kids? I know that the plane had a capital sigil on it. That doesn't make any sense though, because the kids were there to put a barrier between the rebels and Snow. And why would the rebels bomb them if they're just going to send in medics to heal them? No, break time. Quick sidebar, because I am pacing my room in frustration. A whole lot just happened, and yet nothing at the same time. The last thing we see is that Prim gets firebombed, Katniss also gets some fire on her, and then she goes under, she wakes up, presumably weeks later in the hospital after a bunch of surgeries. We as the audience don't see Prim's death, the downfall of the Capitol, the rebels taking over, Snow being captured and tried, Gale being released and returned, Peeta's return and healing. Nothing of any sort that would have an emotional connection to it. I know that you're told that these things happen and that we are aware that these things happen. But as the audience member, I just read 3 books for 0 emotional payoff. And I'm sure that the thing that will be the emotional payoff is Snow being killed. And this sidebar real quick is just to alert you that I don't think it's going to be able to fix how lacking I'm currently finding the ending of this story. I just feel like y'all are going to hate this video because there's so many things that we're going to disagree on. That's why y'all hate Gale, because he made a bomb that he had no idea how it was going to be used and was lied to by Coin just like everybody else was. Come on. Like, that's such grasping at straws for reasons to hate him. Another sidebar, because I know you're going to fight me on this, because I'm not convinced that you're mad he made the bomb. I think that you're mad that he made the bomb that killed Prim. and he had zero control over how that bomb was used in that instance. I will absolutely concede that the bomb was made to target children, but in that instance, it was where it would go after the children so that adults would run in and they could kill adult capital citizens and soldiers. What happened at the end with the children in the pen and Prim being on the outside in a peacekeeper's uniform, that was the direct result of plans from Coin. The death of Prim is on Coin's shoulders, it is not on Gale's shoulders. And in fact, if you read the book, you know that Katniss agrees with that sentiment. In better news, Effie is still alive though. I like that. Okay, it's redeemed itself a little bit with this whole last Hunger Games thing. What do you mean Katniss and Haymitch agreed that another one should happen? Like, it absolutely shouldn't happen, but I like that Katniss has a little bit of fire in her. No pun intended after almost being burned alive. I'd bet my life she would have voted no. My anger is dissipating. Katniss killed Coin. Wow, I liked that. I don't really know why I liked it, but I did. I also want President Snow to die. Want that on record. Good person. I would vote for the right side of history. But Coin also should have died. That was good. I've been trying to record this for like 20 minutes. I'm done. And I will concede that the ending was what it needed to be. I really hate that the downfalls of first person is that you don't get to see something that the person isn't there for. And actually, I expect a lot of that to be fixed in the movie. But how the story goes on to show her returning to her house and going through grief and the slow, agonizing road to recovery of being a semi-normal person and having a life with PETA. It feels fitting and it's one that I will accept. I do want to be very clear that for a while now, I do not and have not cared about the Gale PETA situation. Like, cool, she ended up with one of them. I'm kind of dead inside about it. I feel like pretty similar to the way I did when I finished Manacled, which is that at the end of the day, it's all just loss. You can be happy that they got like a normal ending or whatever, but you cannot forget the loss that happened along the way. The Gale thing, I'll touch on more during like a full review of the series, but strongly disagree with all of you about it. Not from a romantic place. I think that PETA is unanimously the better person. He always was along the way. And again, don't care about the ending up with Katniss thing, but the fandom's hatred of him over something that he didn't really have control over, that shit was going to get made and done regardless. It was the leaders who were driving its making. To me, whether or not you were on the team who accomplished it does not have bearing on how the leaders were always going to use it. I don't really know what else to add. I feel numb, and I think that that's the best I was ever going to feel at the end of this story. I'm not mad at the ending. I'm not sad about anything. I'm not happy. I'm just like, oh, Jesus. Like, that's what it is. It's almost like a defense mechanism. So we did it. Of course, I'm going to continue with the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes after the 2 movies. I don't know if I'm going to make that 1 video or 2, depending on how much happens. But thank you so much for being here. And I'm sorry if I said things that you disagree with. I still mean every one of those words.